Well, hello there, you beautiful, wonderful, incredible, amazing human. I'm Andrea Dawn, and today we're going to be doing an asana practice for back pain, as well as just a great warm-up for any practice. So we're going to address all planes of the spine. So without further ado, we will get started. Let's just take one moment to find a seat. Close the eyes, or take a soft downward gaze. Align the ears over the shoulders, over the hips. And just really arrive in this moment in your body, in your breath and your being. And let's place our attention in our back. So more specifically in the place where you experience pain or discomfort. And it's as if we are just breathing space, breathing light into that space. So making a deeper connection with that space of your body and your mind and your heart. All right, we're going to start down on our backs. So you'll come down onto your back. Once you get down onto your back, we'll bend the knees and step the feet wide. You can take the arms out to a T or cactus arms, and we're just gonna pretend that we're moving down a ladder. So each time that you windshield wiper the legs from side to side, you'll go a little further down that ladder. And then the next time that the legs are over towards the left, you'll pause and let them fall as far as is okay with you. Then you can take your gaze and shift it over your right shoulder. And again, throughout the whole practice, we're just bringing more awareness, attention into our back, into our spine. So we're attuning ourselves to the station of the physical body. So you could think about it like an old school dial, like you're tuning out the fuzz so that you can be incredibly aware of all the subtlety of feeling. Not feeling like I'm feeling happy or sad, but feeling like I'm feeling a sensation in my physical body. All right, let's bring the knees back through center. We'll do a few more like we did in the beginning to go down the ladder. And then when you're ready, you'll take the knees over towards the right. So even if you don't experience pain in your back, this is an excellent way to warm up for any yoga practice. Our spine is the central axis of the body, so it's essential that we take care of it before we ask our body to do other things. We can consider the practice a time where we're attending and addressing the needs of our physical body rather than placing more demands on it. So we give it a chance to speak to us because it doesn't speak in words. And we do that by cultivating the ability to feel more subtle and subtle and subtle sensation. All right, let's bring the knees back through center, heel toe the feet together, then hug your knees in towards your chest. And you might find some slow rocking movements from side to side. Good, then we'll step the feet down. The heels spread about fist width distance, 2 fist width distance or hip width distance, and slightly forward of the knees, arms down next to the sides of the body. Now in that same way we kind of went down that ladder, we're gonna go up that same ladder here. So let's start by pressing the navel down towards the spine. So you feel your whole back press against the mat. Now we're gonna press through the feet to slowly start to lift the hips, then peel the lower back off the mat and then lower it back down. And you'll really continue to press the navel towards the spine so you can feel the low back press into the mat. And then we'll do that step by step. And each time you lift, you'll lift a little bit higher. But just being aware of the articulation of the spine. And it's also helpful to use your breath. So when we link our breath and our movement, we find more of that unifying sensation because we are whole beings. So the breath initiates the movement. And then the next time that you're up as far as is okay for you, you're going to hold there. Press down through your feet. Think of spiraling your inner thighs down. And if your glutes are clenched, just see if you could relax them a little bit. Good. Now lift through your heart and chest. Press the backs of your arms down. And continue to breathe. It's a great place to expand the breath. Watch your belly rise and fall. And then we'll lower down. Same mindful way. Good. Take the arms back to cactus arms, a few windshield wipers, and then we'll move on to side bending. So to side bend on our back, we'll extend the legs out long and the arms overhead. And now we'll just side bend toward the left. So you'll just slightly lift and come over towards the left. So I'm reaching this left shoulder more towards my left hip. You can also take the left hand a hold of the right wrist. And you might be experiencing enough sensation, or if you'd like a little bit more, you can walk the left leg over towards the left and then bring the right leg over as well, or maybe cross the right ankle over the left. And then once again, awareness into where you're experiencing sensation. We can let go of the I should feel or I'm supposed to feel and just feel where we feel. That really opens up a door of spaciousness in the practice, and back through center. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll start by lifting. Right shoulder comes a little bit closer towards the right hip. You might take the right hand a hold of the left wrist, then check in. Maybe the right foot walks over, left foot walks over, maybe there's a cross. And don't be shy to come back out of something, right? We might experiment something and say, oh, that's too much. And it's your job to be that Goldilocks. How much is enough, but not too much, especially in a gentle practice like this. Our goal isn't power and strength, it's healing. And then we'll come back through center. All right, we're gonna make our way up to all fours. So however you wanna get there, whether that's rolling off to one side and pressing yourself up, or maybe you're finding a little bit of momentum and coming on up to all fours. So when we think about what we've done already, we've done some flexion, right? Where we rounded the spine in our bridge pose, or our extension, where we tilted our spine up in our bridge pose. We've done some side bending, and we've also done some twisting. So now we're gonna do some circumduction. So on all fours with hands underneath shoulders, we're just gonna see about finding some circles with the hips. Make sure you're gripping through your finger pads and pushing the floor down and away from you. Then let's go in the other direction. Right, so it's not more stress on the wrists or shoulders than it needs to be. If this is too much on your wrists, you can always fist the hands. All right, now we're gonna get a little fancy and take it into figure eights. So as if you were using your hips to draw figure eights. So we get the spine moving in all kinds of directions. And maybe you do a little faster variation of this every morning before you get out of bed or before you start your day. And then let's take those figure eights in the opposite direction. Good, and now we'll come into a downward facing dog. So the hands are spread just a little wider than shoulder width distance. You'll tuck your toes. You'll start to lift the knees, lift the hips. Right, once I get my hips lifted, then I'm gonna straighten the legs, press the heels back and down, so I'm creating an upside down V shape with my body.
And this might be a nice stretch for your back. We won't stay here too long. Hide the heels behind the toes. Press the heels back and down and towards the outer corners of your mat. Engage your quads, lift through your hamstrings, and keep breathing. All right, now from here we'll tiptoe the feet to the hands and find a forward fold. So this is a nice release for the back when we allow ourselves to be heavy and we allow the head to hang heavy. You can increase that sensation by holding on to opposite elbows. Notice if you want to keep the head up, see if you can drop it down, maybe shake it out, maybe sway the upper body. If it feels like it's too much on your hamstrings, right, then you put a little bit more bend in your knees. Good, then let's roll ourselves up to stand.
And now we'll come into another side bend. So we're just going to keep repeating those same things. Twisting, extension, flexion, circumduction, side bending. So we'll step the left foot back and you'll turn towards the long side of your mat. We're going to create heel to arch alignment. So my right heel is intersecting my left arch. My left foot is facing the long side of my mat or maybe turn slightly in. Okay, now I'm going to start to move and tilt my pelvis. So I'm going to start with it in neutral and then tilt it. So I'm tilting the right hip point down as I lift the left. Right, and I'm finding a nice side bend here. But I'm not completely dumping into this right side body. I'm keeping a little bit of lift in the side body. And we'll just keep the hands on the waist here. It's a variation of our triangle pose. Steady your breath. And then we'll nice and slow bring it back up and do the other side. So you'll turn the right foot now to face the long side or slightly in, and then the left foot to face the back of your mat with the heel intersecting the arch. Start with neutral hips, then we begin to tilt. Just keep a little micro bend in the left knee, the left quad is engaged. And you only need to lower as much as you feel enough sensation. All right, so the goal isn't to be down here, to have my hand down here. The goal is to experience a side bend. Good, and then we'll come on back up to stand. Turn the left foot in, turn the right foot back forward, and we'll come on to the ball mound of the left foot to step the left foot up to meet the right. And we'll do that same circumduction standing now. So circling out the hips, you can do things like finding small circles, then medium circles, then large circles. Then take them in the other direction, maybe going from large back down to small. The most important part is that you're staying engaged with the movement and your breath and the sensation. Good, and now we'll come back down onto the ground. So inhale to reach your arms up high. Exhale to fold forward. Plant the hands down. Step the feet back into a plank position where we're not going to hold. Drop the knees down. Walk the knees back and we'll come on to our bellies. Once you get down onto your belly, your hands can stay underneath your shoulders. Maybe they come out a little wider. And we're just going to either rest one cheek down, the other cheek down, or the forehead down. Bend the knees and windshield wiper the legs here. Good. Then release the legs. Press the tops of the feet down so the feet are about 2 fist width distance apart, and we're going to add a little bit of a strength component because oftentimes why we experience pain might be because we lack strength in that area. So if that's not you, maybe you continue the windshield wipers or circle out the legs, but if strength is something you think you might be helpful for you, then we're going to take the arms forward. Press the tops of the feet down, engage the quads, lift the kneecaps.
Good. Now I'm going to slowly start to lift, and I'm going to try to lift from my mid back. So think if you were a woman wearing a bra, if you're a man, where a bra would be. And rather than thinking of my low back arching, I'm trying to move my mid and upper back. Good. Now you might see about lifting one arm, lowering it down, lifting the other arm, lowering it down, and then lower back down. We'll do that again. You might repeat the exact same thing. This time, you might turn the thumbs up and try and lift both arms. Draw your armpits back as you reach your fingers forward. The back of the neck stays long as you reach the crown of the head forward. And lower back down. Nice work. Bend the knees. Windshield wiper, circle out the legs. And then from there, we'll roll back onto our backs. So once you get back onto your back, we're going to take an even more subtle variation of our bridge pose. So we're going to think like we're doing cat-cow here. So the hips stay on the ground. My heels are slightly in front of my knees, about shoulder, hip width apart, arms are down next to the side of the body. So I'm going to see about lifting my low back off of the mat, think like cow pose, as I lift then through my heart and chest and press the backs of my arms down. And then I'm going to lower the spine back down, pressing the navel towards the spine and flattening the spine out. So again, I'm not lifting my hips. I'm keeping my hips on the ground and just refining my ability to feel subtle sensation and to work with the breath and articulate the spine. All right, we're going to come into a little bit deeper of a spinal twist this time. So what I want you to do is press down through your hands, pick up your hips, move them more over towards the left. So it's going to feel like you're off center because you are, but we're getting ourselves on center. Now you'll take your arms out to a T or cactus arms and drop the knees over towards the right. The reason I did this is because now when I drop the knees, my sternum and my tail are in alignment. If I didn't do that when I drop the knees over towards the right, then my spine gets out of alignment. Not a big deal, but I find it more helpful to experiencing a better spinal twist. And then the gaze can shift over the left shoulder. And then bring the knees back through center, and we'll do that same thing on the other side. You'll press down through your feet, lift your hips, shift them a little bit more over towards the right. So when you drop them to the left, your tail and your sternum are in alignment. Bring the knees back through center. And there you have it. That is our yoga for back pain or for a really nice warm up to any yoga practice. It might seem simple, but try it out. It works. Even if you pick a couple of those from each one of the planes, right? If you do some flexing and extending like in your cat-cow, if you do some spinal twisting, if you do some side bending, and if you do some circumduction. Before you do any activity in the day, I promise you your spine is going to be a lot healthier, and thank you. All right, so now we'll take our Shavasana. Most important posture. We hear that all the time, but why? Why is because we need to activate our parasympathetic nervous system so that we get to experience the healing. It's in this space where all of the work we just did gets to really ruminate and gets to actually take effect. Oftentimes we're just on to the next thing. We don't give our body time to catch up to all that we've done. Our body moves a lot slower. Think about it. It's the most dense layer of us. Our mind is much more subtle. It moves much faster. So it's like we're always
running ahead of our body and expecting it to move as fast. And that's not the way that it works. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more motivation to stay in your Shavasana as long as you have time for. I'm going to leave you here. Know that I appreciate you. I'm honored that you chose to join me for this practice. If you like this video, subscribe, like, and let me know what you need so I can create a video that's